Okay, once we have this, whole information annotated for each of these resources that are part of our business. Also, in the context of TIMBUS, so here we are talking about, we have some data center, yeah. It uses some service which is called credit check service, as I have shown you, in the step here. So collect deposit is using some credit check service which is provided by third service provider, yeah. So what I can do is basically then I can run some, after, I have extracted the data which is annotated to all these resources. What I can do is I can run the simulations, yeah. In this case, I will just run simulation for, I don't know, next 2 months. We can run for next 1 year. We can run for next 10 years. It depends on the requirement, yeah. Okay, let me show you one thing first before I go there. So what are the risks associated with the, this finance services which is providing me this credit check service? So this is a third service provider to me, and let's have a look into what are the risks associated. It can go bankrupt, I know that, due to some information. And what can happen likely, in 30 days it will be bankrupt, yeah. Okay, so once I have this information, and these guys, who are the business managers, they normally are familiar with this tool. It's not new thing for them. So it's not really, something completely out of the sky. So they just, push a button for the next quarter. If they want to look into business continuity plan for next quarter, 1 year, depending on the requirement, they can run the simulations. Okay, once the simulations are run, so what we can do is basically, we can look into business impact results. Oh, it looks really bad actually. So here you see, at collect deposit. So I have simulated for the next 2 months. And here you see, there is a serious disruption, in the end of October, and there will be another disruption, starting from 20th of November till 9th of December. Yeah, 2 serious disruptions are predicted to happen in my, this business. And so, as you can see, the items waiting, it are going on hundreds. So clearly, this is not a nice, thing for me, because I will lose money, right? Because I have the business impact table. I can show you that also, if you go to detailed incident plan. So here you can see in the graph, I will miss my, I have defined some deadlines, the down times for my acceptable for my process. Here you can see I missed the first deadline, 100 euros lost, second deadline, 2,000 euros lost, and third deadline, 50,000 euros lost, and maybe I'm out of business already, right? If I've defined that as my limit. Okay, so what happens here now? Also, I can look into each resource and see what's happening with the resource now, for the next 2 months. For example, if I look into electricity, it has some, small disruption predicted out of my solution. Not very big disruption. I'm happy with that. And if I click on the UPS is doing good job. It is covering that disruption. It was a small disruption. UPS gets up and running and it covers that disruption. What happens with the Japan staff? These are sick, somebody is sick at this time, right? In October. So end of the day, this disruption is coming to my business process. And if I want to look into my, as I said, I'm using this service, third-party service, and this has also been disrupted because, it was going bankrupt, I knew by some, information. So clearly it is causing a lot of disruption into my business, which is not acceptable for me. So what I can do is basically, okay, as I said, Japan staff is also sick, maybe I will do some action where I will increase the multiplicity of Japan staff. I will hire, one more person, when this guy is not available. And what I can do with the credit check service in the TIMBUS context is that, I can have some escrow service provider, basically, which means that he preserves the service for me. When the service provider becomes bankrupt, I go to this guy and he basically provides me service instantly, just pushing a button and service is alive and running again. But still, what I can do is now, I can also do some heat map analysis. So this heat map analysis show me what are the problematic parts in my, whole landscape. What are the resources that need to be addressed. Here, see financial service, it was going to be bankrupt, and clearly I can see it is red. So now I've, I am using this service via my escrow service provider or digital preservation provider. So what I will do is I will again run the simulation for the same time period to see still, if this is a good option or not. I still want to, validate this with my simulations. I will run the simulation for the same time period, for the last 2 months of this year. And we can see, what happens. Okay, now this service, if you remember, when it was provided by my external provider, it was a lot of disruptions were here. But once I go to my escrow financial services, it is up and running again, and there is no disruption here. Yeah. Again, I can go to my business process level, also to the activities, and I can see there are not hundreds of items waiting in the queue. So the process looks very smooth now. There are no real spikes here. There are some small, very small spikes. These are maybe due to the employee was sick. Very small disruptions. So this is how basically you can, with the help of this tool, you have all the information into one place. You change different scenarios, check different options, click the simulation button, and you have the answers, if this decision you are thinking of is a good one or not. So this way you can do, risk management and also put deeply in the context. Yeah. So any questions?
Thanks very much. You seem to have escaped from any further questions. Are there any?
Yeah, there's too much silence here now, I guess.
Anybody there?
Well, it's extremely labor-intensive probably to produce this. How are you doing it at SAP, and how are you?
So we are implementing that in the context of TIMBUS project. So TIMBUS is a research project funded by European Commission. So we have a couple of partners like, DPC, they are also our partners in this project. So it's basically,